Hello everybody, I've just seen this on the internet, that all these tractors had come in, but I'm going to play a few bits from videos because obviously people reported, said what they wanted, but there's a few things I'd like to add. I was in a riot once, but I wasn't, and then I was. What it is a friend got married, and I remember as we were walking down the road to the restaurant after they got married, you could hear da 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 da. What do we want? Da 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 da. What do we want? But what had actually happened was, I don't know if anybody remembers this, in London there was a man who was holding a cigarette lighter, but it was a gun shape, and the police asked him to put it down and he didn't, and supposedly they shot him. So this was happening after that, with unrest with the people. So we had the meal, that was all good, and then we went to the pub, and my kids were quite small, I suppose, and basically it was just about to leave, and we went outside and we were just walking up the road, and then in front of us these kids came out, or people came out with masks and hoodies, started turning cars over, trying to light the fuel, and I'm going, what are you doing? Because I've got a baby with me, my daughter was quite small then, and they were going, shut up mum, and they were trying to whiz us out, and suddenly it just turned into absolute bedlam. So we managed to get ourselves back to the pub, and the rioting had come from the estate where this person was killed with holding it. They thought it was a gun, they asked him to put it down, but after they shot him it was a cigarette lighter. Oh dearie me, but that was my extent. So what it was is, when we went back to the pub, the landlord put this big bar over the door so that no one could come in from outside, and when we looked out the window, all the shops were being smashed, all the goods were being taken, and suddenly there was hundreds of people there taking it all. Yes, that was my experience of a riot. I've made quite a few videos about this because this is what I see. A totalitarianism system is a form of government where the state seeks absolute control over all aspects of public and private life, suppressing individuals' freedoms, banning opposition, and using propaganda, terror and strict social controls to enforce a singular ideology society according to its goals. Key features include a single ruling party, a strong leader, control of media, economy. Oh, there you go, don't you get it? And the elimination of dissent through police terror, with modern examples often cited as North Korea. Absolute control. Absolute control. That is what they want of your brain. Anyway, let's watch the video. Do you know what anarchy actually means? Freedom fighter. Yeah, let's watch the video now, and thanks for listening, and we're going to continue.
For farmers attending a protest planned tomorrow outside Parliament.
5 columns encircled Parliament, 234 streets paralysed, over 1,800 tractors stormed London, and in just 14 minutes the capital was placed under total siege. This is not a union negotiation. This is war between the farmers and the government. At 8:30 a.m, the highways into London were severed. At 8:54, the tractors breached Westminster. At 9:15, the tanks were on the streets.
It's a hobby.
Witnesses reported over a dozen tanks aligned with these protesters. Suddenly, reports broke of a tank crushing a police van. Police refused to confirm this. The farmers didn't care. This was the beginning of the end. By 9:30, sharp, tractors began sealing off every entry and exit to the government quarter. Keir Starmer declared that anyone participating in the siege would face prison time. But the protesters had nothing left to lose. When you demand £400,000 from farmers earning barely £30,000 just to keep their land, you don't just crush a business, you surrender the nation's food security to balance a broken ledger. And after it, you're stripping assets from the people who feed the nation to fund benefits for new arrivals, effectively buying the next election win with the wreckage of British farming. By lunch, analysts estimated the damage at £82 million. Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves see farmers as millionaires. Yes, their land is valuable, but in reality, they earn pennies. While the main London's highways remain blocked by tractors, the unthinkable becomes possible. Food reserves in the capital supermarkets will last 2 to 3 days at most. Warehouses never planned for a city besieged by thousands of tractors. While Starmer remains silent, police platoons are fighting to stop tractors from driving straight into the Parliament session. Waves across the country took to the streets demanding Starmer's resignation and holding signs that read, "No farmers, no food." By evening, the government's worst nightmare materialised. Thousands of those the media branded as far-right groups flooded onto the streets. Merged with the tractors and the tanks, it became a nuclear mix. Tonight isn't about a budget dispute. It's about who actually feeds this island and who holds the power to starve it. The columns that breached the M25 highway were not urban activists, and they were not weekend protesters. Many had driven hundreds of miles from the regions, forcing their heavy machinery through police lines that Starmer foolishly thought would hold. A TikTok clip reached 7.3 million views. It showed a police van trying to block tractors' convoy and faced the immediate consequences 8 seconds later. The video was removed in 2 hours, labelled as a violence violations. Waves of protesters didn't come to lobby, they came to siege. A strategy that traces back to a rural population pushed into a corner by a tax policy designed to erase their existence. These weren't traffic jams, they were calculated strangleholds, logistical choke points to see how long the capital can survive without a supply chain, before the government breaks. And tonight, Westminster learned something terrifying. Concrete barriers failed, armoured vans were pushed aside, and Starmer's administration watched in paralysis. Officers on the ground weren't unwilling to stop them. They were simply outmatched by 10-ton machines that do not feel the bite of a baton. In South London, a radio message reported, "Sector 15 is lost, we just can't stop them," requesting immediate deployment of military equipment. Protesters on the ground began firing fireworks directly at police shields. 123 arrests were made. In Belfast, 2 police vans were set on fire. Rumours of a possible declaration of martial law began to spread. Starmer is expected to make a statement in the morning. In central London, a police negotiation unit was deployed. But 200 metres away, reports came in of 7 hospitalised officers. Everything was called off. The demands from the tractors are absolute. Total repeal of so-called agricultural property relief, changes or the blockade remains. Starmer's cabinet looks at a spreadsheet and sees a £3 million asset that should be taxed. The farmer looks at that same land and sees a workplace that generates less than £30,000 in annual profit. The new 20% levy on assets over £1 million is not a tax on wealth. It is a tax on existence. Children are facing an immediate bill of £500,000 the moment a parent passes away. There is no cash reserve to pay this. The only option is to sell the fields, destroying the business and ending centuries of tradition. Next to Parliament, farmers denounce Starmer as a city accountant who understands nothing about British agriculture. Labour promised protection, but they have delivered a death sentence to the smallholder. Farmers are furious that their assets are being raided to plug budget holes caused by soaring welfare costs and asylum accommodation. They see their life's work being liquidated to pay for a state that despises them. This isn't about protecting tax havens for the elite. It is about saving the men who get up at 4 a.m. to feed the nation. Rachel Reeves calls it closing a loophole. The protesters call it state-sanctioned theft. Every tractor parked on Whitehall represents a business that will not survive April 2026 if this law stands. They are not asking for subsidies. They are demanding the right to pass their livelihood to their children without the state taking a fatal cut. The message is clear: kill the tax or we kill the entire country's agriculture. Britain isn't just losing its food security, it's actively destroying it. Keir Starmer built his economic plan on one delusion, that he could raid the countryside to balance the books without consequences. Tonight proved how fatal that calculation was. When the state declares war on its own producers, it doesn't get revenue. It gets famine. The tractors choking tonight's capital came from farms Starmer refuses to understand. The defiance echoing through Whitehall grew under tax burdens Rachel Reeves refuses to lift. And the paralysis of the supply chain is the direct result of a chancellor who refuses to listen. Britain isn't being governed. Britain is being liquidated until it starves. For weeks, agricultural unions quietly raised the same desperate warning. These blockades are not political stunts. They are survival mechanisms. Footage from the M25 revealed the sheer scale of the mobilisation unfolding like a military operation. The same heavy machinery used to harvest wheat now used to barricade exits. The same disciplined columns of truckers from Manchester joining the siege. And the same terrifying sight of vintage tanks rolling alongside tractors, leaving police utterly outmatched. These are not lobby groups. These are coordinated, desperate producers drawing a line in the mud against a policy that wipes them out. And the government knew the math. They have the land values, they have the profit margins. They know a £3 million farm generates less than £30,000 a year. But under Keir Starmer, every one of those facts gets filed under the same label: taxable wealth. Britain used to tax based on profit. Now it taxes based on envy. That is how we reach this absurd reality.
The number of nurses leaving the profession in England has hit a record high, according to new analysis by the Nuffield Trust. More than 40,000 qualified nurses left NHS employment. That's 11.5% of the total.
61 emergency zones downgraded in 24 hours. 5,700 life or death calls rerouted. Response times in some regions stretched to nearly triple the national target. That is the state of Britain's emergency system this week. A system that didn't crack, it buckled. For months, ambulance crews have warned that rising violence linked to illegal migration hotspots and neighborhood flashpoints has turned routine call-outs into high-risk operations. Not isolated incidents, not rare confrontations, a pattern, spreading, hardening,